As you know, I grow elephant garlic every year and sell it to supermarkets. I like growing things, and I've tried growing other crops commercially, but without success because it's just so difficult to harvest and dry things in our climate. I can grow all sorts of things, but fruits and seeds usually need sunshine to ripen properly, and sunshine is something we just can't count on here anymore at any time of the year. One crop that might possibly work here is pumpkins, or in this case, ichikikuri squashes. I saved the seed from last year and sprouted these in the kitchen, but now they desperately need more light. These ones are just a couple of days older and already have their first proper leaves, and once they get going, they grow at a tremendous rate. A couple of plants would eventually fill this whole glass house, so the race is on to get a safe space for them outside somewhere. Now, squash plants, as you know, are very vulnerable when they're small like this, and also when they're flowering, but once they've set fruit, they can grow on and ripen even without hot and dry conditions. And once they're grown and harvested, they taste great and can last months stored in a cool shed. Now, I don't know if anyone's actually going to buy any of these things locally, but I do have an inn now with 3 supermarkets because of the garlic, so I could at least suggest that they stock them. I just have to grow some first. Last year, the cold wind and rain killed 90% of what I planted out, so this year I have a new plan. They're fine in the glass house inside this inner cloche, or miniature polytunnel, and I'm thinking they'll be fine outside too in the same sort of little hoop houses, so I'm going to make a few more, only narrower than this one. Now I know I can make cloches in many other ways, but bear with me here. Let me just make a couple and I'll show you what I'm on about. Bring on the pipe rolling machine and some cheap galvanized pipe. Some of you will have seen how I made this machine and seen me using it to roll hoops and rings of different sizes with different thicknesses of pipes. I'll put a link in the description in case you want to make one of these things for yourself. Now all I need for this job is to roll this pipe into half rounds. It takes about 3 minutes per hoop, and they should last decades. Now I could weld them together along the bottom with more pipe, but I'm going with untreated wooden beams because it makes it easy to attach the plastic sheet. This is the old plastic we took off our tunnel back in the winter. It would be better if it was cleaner, obviously, but at least it's free. If you're lucky, you might get the end of a roll from a polytunnel supplier. Builder's plastic is cheap too, but probably would only last 1 season. Now I can hear people saying I could have used plastic pipe for the hoops. Well, yes. And no, mostly no, because if you use plastic pipe, then of course you can bend it into hoop shapes easily. but they will unbend equally easily. So you either need to stick the ends into the ground, which makes them difficult to open and move around, or else you need to link the sides together somehow. But if you do that with wires or something, then the plant can't grow out of the ends. Or if it does, you need to untangle them somehow without damaging it.
Not pulled at the end.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. If I pull here while you do this.
Yep.
Okay. I need a fourth person.
I think we could make a little canoe out of it.
One of those children's play tunnels, isn't it?
That would work, wouldn't it, actually? It would work.
Yeah.
One down, 3 more to go.
Where's Ashley gone? Anybody seen Ashley lately? Oh, there he is. Ta-da! There they go. At least you don't get wet if it starts raining. Oh no, the lambs broke out. Oh!
My plan is to plant a squash at both ends. So 2 per polytunnel, 2 per cloche. Then let them fill up the sheltered space inside. And then when they're big and strong enough and the weather's good enough, then they can burst out of the ends and go crazy across the field. So these tunnels are just temporary incubators, if you like, and will only be needed for a month or so, but those few weeks are absolutely critical. Ashley and I used the railway to bring some more muck around from the muck heap. Should have filmed that, shouldn't I? But I didn't. I'm leaving the black plastic down and planting through holes in it. In the autumn, I will clear the squash and remove the plastic, and underneath the ground should be clean enough for planting more garlic. So no digging at all, and just mulch from then on. So the plastic is down for just 1 season, and then it moves on to a new part of the field. Right then, that's the plan. Good luck, little plants. My fortune depends on you, so don't let me down, okay? Yes, okay, yes, but what's this about double-walled polytunnels, Tim? Well, very simple. If you start with a longer length of pipe, then obviously you'll end up with a larger hoop, and then you can make a larger polytunnel, which fits neatly over the smaller ones. And obviously that traps a layer of air, insulating the space inside better. And I think there's lots of potential for double-walled polytunnels in a climate like ours for starting plants a couple of weeks earlier, when even a degree or 2 of increased temperature can be the difference between success and failure. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, I was going to wait till the plants are bigger and include them in this video, but now is the time to use these things. So I'm putting this film out now in case it's relevant to you. because I think we can all expect much more expensive food later on this year because of the wars, even without any unexpected weather events, which we probably ought to expect. So maybe we could all try to grow a little more ourselves if we can. Now, we certainly don't grow all our own food here, not at all, because we have other things that we want to do with our lives. But some crops are well worth the time and trouble.